Hey,
Hi.
hey, what's up?
So, good news and bad news. The good news is we got the license for the show. It's
Cool.
confirmed for the 4th of December. The bad news is we did have to slash some things off your script.
Like what?
We can't have any mention of sex, politics, or religion. Also,
That's
zero fucks and maybe one shit.
but that's pretty much my whole set.
Hello?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm just yeah, that's in 2 weeks. I'm pretty much gonna have to like figure a way out of okay. Yeah,
We're good?
yeah, we're great. What happens if I do political jokes or sex jokes or you know?
Well, we pretty much run the risk of getting shut down and possibly a lawsuit or two.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, great. I'll see you in 2 weeks.
See you then.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, guys. I just want to say thank you to everyone that came out tonight to be a part of this journey. It's my first time doing a show out of Los Angeles, California, and it's my very own hometown, Kuwait. It's truly an honor. Thank you so much. I think there's like 2,000 people in the house tonight. It's crazy. I wish my 7th grade math teacher was here, Miss Neda. She always used to tell me, Saad, Habibi, the jokes are never going to take you anywhere. But now I guess probabilities wasn't her thing. You know, I'm going to tell you a little story before I get into the set. When I first got contacted to do a show in Kuwait, I was very hesitant, right? Because I was like, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do the same material that I can do in the States. You know what I mean? So when I talked to the booker, I was like, can I do the same stuff that I'm doing in the States? And she was like, yes, of course. You can say anything you want. And I'm like, anything I want. She goes, anything you want, just a few restrictions. I was like, hit me. And she goes, no cussing, no religion, no sex, and no politics. And I was like, you realize that's pretty much my set list with the word no besides it, right? And I told her, you know what, I'll do it. But the way I see it is speech restrictions are just like condoms. Eventually, one's going to break. And for those of you who are like, did Saad just pull off a sex joke after saying there's no sex jokes? Yes, I did. I did. And for those of you who are smart enough, you'll realize that it wasn't a sex joke, it was a safe sex joke. A week from the show, they called me. They're like, Saad, plot twist. I was like, what's up? They're like, stand-up is on a temporary ban in Kuwait. And I was like, temporary ban? What does that mean? And they were like, so instead of standing still, we're going to ask you to move across the stage nonstop because then it's considered a theatrical performance. And the thing is, like, I think in Kuwait, we love to ban stuff, right? Like, we ban books, we ban movies, we even ban dog breeds from coming into the country. And the first time there was an MMA event in Kuwait, you guys know what MMA is, right? Mixed Mad Arabs, right. We had an MMA event in Kuwait. There was 2 fighters in the cage, which is what happens in an MMA fight. One guy gets knocked out. His friends jump into the cage to knock out the other fighter. The referee steps in. He gets knocked out. The father of the fighter steps in. He passes out. And they were like, we're just going to ban the sport of MMA from Kuwait. And I was like, you shouldn't ban the sport of MMA from Kuwait. You should ban all sports from Kuwait. We have no sportsmanship, right? Like us Arabs don't want to fail in public. Think of like the chillest sport on earth, right? Like let me give you an example. What's the chillest sport on earth? Surfing. Can you imagine an Arab trying to learn how to surf? Please join me on this. He'll go to the water, get on the board, fall off, and he'll be like, Habibi, the salt here is very different than the salt back home. It's not the same salt, trust me. Second time he'll get on the board, he'll fall off. there's this thing called wax on the board, and I have very hairy feet. It doesn't really work. And plus, I think the bottom line is Arabs can't do sports where they can't have cigarette breaks in between rounds. But I got really frustrated, right? So I Googled, what are Arabs leading the industry in? Like, what are we number one in? And I typed it in Google, and the first article that popped up was Ashley Madison scandal. Some of you are trying not to laugh. I'm sure you know what Ashley Madison is. If you don't know what Ashley Madison is, it's pretty much an online dating app for married couples to seek secret affairs. All right? For the dudes in the house, it's pretty much your Morocco trip at the touch of a button. All the ladies are like, Morocco? What is he talking about? Ladies, I'm so sorry to tell you, but that business trip to Morocco was strictly monkey business, all right? All the wives are looking at their husbands. We're going to have a hard talk tonight. Or shall I say soft, because no one's getting hard tonight. So I clicked on the article, right? And it said that there was a hacker that hacked into Ashley Madison's database, and it found that the top 4 countries or users of the app: Saudi Arabia, Morocco, Bahrain, and Lebanon. As if coming from a religion that allows you to have 4 wives wasn't enough. It's crazy to me because, like, when I look at these things, I think to myself, what is the marital success rate in the Middle East, right? Like, by a round of applause, how many of you guys here are married tonight? By a round of applause, how many of you here are divorced? Nice. By a round of applause, how many of you here are contemplating divorce? Give it a few more years. But the truth is, I was raised with divorced parents. I was raised by a single mother who's here tonight. Round of applause for my mom. I love you. And, when I was really young, I was a trouble child, right? So I was always in detention, always suspended from class, always kicked out of class. And then one day my mom lost it. She threw in the towel, and she's like, I don't know what else to do with you. So she calls my dad, and my dad's like, okay, I'm gonna come over and have a talk with my son. And if you have divorced parents, you know that divorced parents are like a blow dryer and a bathtub. You want them close, but never touching. You know what I mean? So my dad comes in and he goes, listen, Habibi, I'm gonna send you to a camp, and you're gonna come back a changed man. And I was like, a changed man? He's like, yeah, you know, you need it. I want you to be independent. I want you to grow. I'm like, cool. Where am I going? And he goes, I'm gonna send you to America. So I was like, where am I going in America? And he goes, I'm sending you to New Hampshire. And I was like, that's not America. And he goes, no, it's in America. I'm like, listen, it's not in any of the movies. It's never advertised. If you go to the US Embassy today to apply for a tourist visa, there's a poster of New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, and maybe Boston. Never New Hampshire. So the day came, I get on the plane, I land in Boston, because New Hampshire doesn't have an international airport. And as I'm walking out, I see a man with a paper with my name on it. And he looks at me, because I looked confused, and I had like a very thin stash at the time. And he goes, Saeed? I'm like, Saad. He goes, whatever, get in the van. And I get in the van. Now that I think about it, it's a little weird that I just got in the van. But 2 hours later, we get to New Hampshire, and I realize that it's not my habitat, right? It's just all woods. I'm losing cell coverage. And we get to the bunk, and they're like, listen, it's lights out. Go to bed. You'll meet everyone in the morning. And I wake up the next morning, and I quickly realize I was the only non-white kid out of everyone in the bunk. 32 kids. I was the only non-white kid. So they all gather around me like, where are you from? What's your name? And I'm like, my name is Saad. I'm from Kuwait. And they're like, we have Jews over there? And I was like, no, why? They're like, it's an all-Jewish camp. And I was like, what is my dad trying to tell me? Come back a changed man. I'm already circumcised, you know what I mean? But it's crazy because I had a bully there named Trevor from Canada, And that's how you know you're at the bottom of the totem pole, when your bully is from Canada, by the way. And he used to make fun of me every day. Like, Saad, do you guys go to school in camels? Do you guys have electricity over there? And we come from a very homophobic culture. That's just the truth. And in Arabic, when you say you're going to F someone, it's in no way insinuated that you're interested in that male, romantically from the behind. And in Arabic, it just means you're going to beat them up, right? And I wasn't used to the slang, I didn't watch a lot of stuff at the time. So one day I just lost it. Trevor was bullying me and I just lost it. And I was like, Trevor, I'm going to F you so hard. Trevor, I'm going to F you so hard, I'm going to make you cry. Trevor, I'm going to F you so hard, I'm going to make you bleed. And the counselor hears it and goes, whoa, Saad, come here for a second. Keep the same tone and energy. Just add the word up, buddy, all right? Because up makes all the difference. And that's when I realized that for the duration of the camp, everyone thought I was an angry gay Muslim. But the thing is, I've lived in California for 10 years now. And I meet a lot of Americans who still have no idea where Kuwait is. And I'm just starting to believe that Americans see the Middle East as one big land of inspiration for Call of Duty maps. And I was trying to stay in America because I'm trying to have a career in entertainment, as you can see. And it really helps to have a green card. And those aren't really easy to get. To the point where I started contemplating actually marrying an American girl to get it, right? I told my mom about it and she freaked out. She was like, but Saad, Habibi, don't you want to marry an Arab girl, conserve the culture, you're a proud Arab? I was like, Mom, in this time with this president, I'm either a married Arab or detained Arab. Which one do you want? So I told my shady friend Abdul about it, and he was like, bro, give me a few weeks, I'll find you a wife, don't worry about it. How do you think I stayed? We can marry 4, use 1. And I was like, Abdul, I didn't leave a country where arranged marriages is still a thing in pursuit of free romance and opportunity, and you're telling me the only way for me to stay is through an arranged marriage? He goes, yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna lie though, I did go on Facebook and started setting up coffee meetings with all my college lady friends. And then towards the end of the coffee meeting, I would propose. And the meeting would go something like this. So Lindsay, tell me about what you're up to. And she's like, well, I'm working for a marketing agency. I don't know why she's white, just go with it, all right? I'm working for a marketing agency, and my boyfriend lives with me, blah, blah. And then towards the last sip of coffee, I'd be like, before you go, will you marry me? And then she'd be like, no, I told you I have a boyfriend. I'm like, I'll pay you. Does your boyfriend pay you? And they all said no, and I think I got to the bottom of this. I think American women are afraid to marry Arab men, all right? And I get it. It's a conditioned response. Hear me out. When I was really young, I watched the movie Jaws. And ever since, every beach trip has been pretty much ruined, right? Because now whenever I'm in the water, all I can think about is sharks and shark attacks. But we all know that sharks aren't that bad, right? And I feel like 9/11 did the same thing for Arabs. The only difference is we know who directed Jaws. Let that one sink in for a second. The good news is I have a solution for this so-called Islamophobia, right? So I think just like Shark Week on Discovery Channel, we should have our very own Arab Week, all right? The show would be called A Day in the Life of the TSA. Hear me out. Episode 1, bearded man approaches. Is he a Muslim or a barista? We'll find out right after the break. Episode 2, do all jihadi terrorists get 72 virgins in heaven? And if so, does anyone really want 72 awkward hand jobs? The people that aren't laughing at this joke are the ones that went to Morocco earlier. I'm just letting you guys know. They're like, Habibti, I don't know what he's talking about. You're not getting the virgins. It's done. It's done. You went to Morocco. You ruined your chances. But to further investigate the stereotype, I went on Urban Dictionary. You guys know what Urban Dictionary is, right? And I typed in Arab. And the definition that popped up was a polite manner to describe a terrorist. I'm not making that shit up. I promise. You can look it up, not right now, after the show. I wasn't offended, but I scrolled down and it went on to explain our favorite tools. And it started with C4s, AK-47s, car bombs, and suicide bombers. And that's where I had a problem, because I'm pretty sure suicide bombing is not a tool, it's a one-time thing. I honestly believe that in every culture, in every country, in every religion, there's terrorists. There's just branded differently, right? Like you guys heard about the New Zealand mosque shooting, yeah? By a round of applause, you guys heard about New Zealand mosque shooting? Cool. We're not clapping for the shooting, we're just clapping if, some people are confused. I'm not gonna clap for this. But what's more messed up than the New Zealand mosque shooting is I was scrolling down Instagram, because that's how I get my news. And I came across the Daily Mail Australia. And they posted a photo of the shooter looking all white, chubby, cute, and fat. And it read, "Shooter was bullied for being fat, and he resorted to video games like Grand Theft Auto, and it just spiraled to a violent adulthood." And I was like, was he bullied by skinny Muslims or something? Because, I don't get it. But the thing is, here's what really bothers me, right? Whenever a white person shoots up people, they're like, he's mentally ill. That's all there is. He's mentally ill. But when an Arab shoots up people, he's a Muslim jihadi terrorist. The news, headlines, everything. Newsflash, that Arab's also mentally ill, all right? It's just that Arabs that are mentally ill join ISIS, while Americans that are mentally ill join the NRA. That's how I see it. There's been 83 school shootings in the United States alone this year, none of which have been committed by any Arab or Muslim students. None. The last shooting that happened in California, the shooter emptied 50 rounds and only hit 3 students, none of which have died, then went on to shoot himself in the head, and he didn't even die. And I just don't know why he couldn't wait till after the yearbook photos were taken, because we all know it's their only chance at a clean headshot. I'm getting ready to head back to the United States in a week, all right? And that's something I'm not looking forward to, because I don't know about you guys, but whenever you're like an immigrant going into the US, they always give you guys a customs form, right? You guys remember those? Customs form, name, address, how much cash you're bringing, and then you gotta tick an ethnicity. And that's something that always bothers me, because it always starts with white, black or African American, Asian, Latino or Hispanic, Pacific Islander, and then other. Like, honestly, what is left? What's other, right? We're the only things that are not on there. We're the whole reason Americans are so afraid of flying. We gave you guys hummus and ankle porn, like, that's all I'm saying. And the thing is, like, I'm kind of pseudo-educated, and if I was to even think about Pacific Islands, the only one that comes to mind is Samoa. And all I know about Samoa is Moana and The Rock, and I'm pretty sure Dwayne Johnson's in both. I got an uncle, and he's convinced that TSA stands for to search Arabs. English isn't really his thing either. He'll confuse, words that sound similar. So the first time we were getting into LAX, as we're getting to the immigration officer, he goes, "Saad, Habibi, when we get to the immigration officer, let me do the talking." And I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. He goes, no, I'm older, I'm your uncle, let me do the talking. I'm like, it's all good. We get to the immigration officer, and the officer goes, "Sir, what is the purpose of your visit?" And my uncle looks at me for clarification. And I look at him, I'm like, this is not the time to rehearse. And he goes, "Sir, what is the purpose of your visit?" And my uncle looks at him and goes, "The purpose of my visit," and then looks at me and winks. "The purpose of my visit is terrorism." At that point, I started taking steps back. And I'm like, "Terrorism?" He goes, "Yeah, terrorism, vacation." I'm like, it's tourism for God's sake, tourism. You guys have been amazing, honestly. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, honestly. Thank you. I'm very honored to be here tonight, seriously. Thank you all for making this happen. Thank you all for your support. This is just the beginning. I'm in this for the long run. I'll definitely be back, and I can't wait to do more shows in front of you guys. You guys are my family. But I want to say a few words before I get off. It's sentimental, I know. But I just want to say thank you to Ignite for putting this together. Round of applause for Ignite. Special thanks to Zaina for believing in me, giving me the opportunity, and still fighting for me to perform here tonight. Thank you so much, Zaina. I don't know if you're still there. Love you. Thank you so much. But above all, she gave me the greatest gift, which is to perform in front of my mother tonight. I love you so much. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, guys. I've been Saad Alessa. You've been great. Thank you so much, Kuwait.